Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joining us now, we have Peter Schweizer. He's head of the Government Accountability Institute. And Peter, boy, oh boy, the Department of Justice is looking into Neville Roy Singham. Talk about what he has been doing to America, you believe, through some of these efforts. You have done, I think, more investigation than anybody on this.
Yeah, Neville Roy Singham, very interesting guy, an American citizen, a self-described Maoist, started a tech company years ago called ThoughtWorks, then sold it to a private equity firm in London that is partly owned by China's sovereign wealth fund, their government. He made about $1 billion off of that deal, and then promptly moved to Shanghai, China, which is where he lives now. He pals around with CCP officials. He's certainly simpatico with their worldview. And what he's been doing is pouring money into organizations in the United States. The People's Forum, which is kind of a meeting place for Antifa groups. He's been connected to groups like the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is aggressively involved in violent protests. And what the Department of Justice is looking at, I think, is particularly that foreign angle. What are his ties to the Chinese and how that might be influencing the actions that he takes? If he's not disclosing those contacts, he could be in violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And of course, it could go even further than that, depending what the allegation is. There are also concerns about the tax status. These are 501c3 and C4 charities that are supposed to be for the general good. The allegation is that these are actually disruptive organizations that are causing trouble on American streets.
So where does it go from here with all of that? And what can the Department of Justice do? By the way, Peter, in studio, we also have Michael Cohen with us, who's been joining us.
How are you?
Yeah, how are you?
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, a lot to talk about, my friend. There's every single day there seems to be something new popping up.
Yep, it does. A lot of tumult on the street. And, some people, obviously, just ordinary Americans expressing their views. But it's these organized efforts, Michael, where you have these cadre of radical groups. They describe themselves as Marxists. They say that they're aligned with the Chinese Communist Party. These groups like Freedom Road Socialist Organization and Party for Socialism and Liberation. And these groups are the vanguard. So you might have a peaceful protest somewhere where people are, holding signs about ICE and they don't like it. People from these groups will show up and they'll start, throwing Molotov cocktails. They'll start throwing projectiles because they want a fight and they want the disruption. And I think what the Department of Justice is going to look at is laws that might have been violated. They're going to use their subpoena power to look at the flow of funds. They'll be able to look at communication. It's going to be very, very interesting, I think, for them to be able to look under the hood, something that I've not been able to do because I'm just a journalist. But I imagine they're going to find some pretty explosive stuff.
Well, when they do, that's when they need to put it forth, show the American people exactly what's going on. Don't talk about it, show it. Right? I mean, that's always the problem when they turn around and they throw something out there, but then 2 weeks go by and the American people, well, what happened to that? Right? When they have this information, 100%, anybody throws a Molotov cocktail at law enforcement, whether it's ICE, police, it makes no difference. They throw it at anybody. They need to be indicted and they need to be incarcerated for that action.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and you really have to, as a prosecutor, I think, step up. Look, the claim from the left is going to be this is just political, you're silencing speech. But as you pointed out, you're talking about violent criminal activity. And when they have brought these cases, I think there was the case in Texas involving some Antifa members that were stirring up violence. They were prosecuted and they were convicted. There was a group down in Georgia that was opposed to Cop City, this training place for law enforcement. They were doing the same thing, violent protests, throwing Molotov cocktails at law enforcement. They were actually brought up on domestic terrorism charges. So you can have success in this space. It's got to be fact-driven, and I agree with you 100%. You have to put the evidence out there for the American people to see and to know precisely what it is you're saying they're doing and what evidence you have for what they've done.
And Peter, that's where you can come in, right? Because a lot of Americans do not see this type of information. You know, they hear it, but then they don't see the information.
And I think a lot of people, everybody can do it. We kind of engage in, mirror imaging, right? Somebody's out protesting. Well, I might go out and protest something on a different side, and I don't want people squelching my speech. But again, there's a big, big, big difference between a protest where you're holding a sign, you're voicing it, you're doing chants, you're doing whatever, and disrupting law enforcement or engaging in violent acts. And I still believe, even in jurisdictions like Washington, D.C. and New York, if that's where these cases are brought, I still believe the majority of American people understand the difference and they're prepared to prosecute people if they've committed those crimes.
Well, Peter, keep us posted. This is big stuff, and there's a lot of issues here. You got to come back on again, too, because we want to talk about birthright tourism, because you have done some blockbuster stuff on that. So let's make sure we get you on soon on that, Peter. You're the best.
Yeah, always great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me, Rita.
Thank you very, very much.